Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Mary Gillam. I am the owner of Premier Strategic Solutions, LLC. I had the privilege the other day of speaking at the Community Business Partnership, and I talked to them about a topic that is very dear to my heart, and that is work-life balance in a post-pandemic era. Work-life balance in a post-pandemic era. Because you see, those three little words, work life balance, if they are not aligned properly, they can create out of balance. They can create out of balance with you and your family. So I want to talk about work life balance, share with you just a couple of things that I believe can help you achieve what some may think is unachievable. You know, I've had the privilege of hosting a local television show called Leadership Table Talk, and I have interviewed business owners, senior executives at different levels, in the military, at university level, just a gamut of people across the spectrum. And I've always asked this question: what is that one challenge that just keeps you up at night? Well, what is that one thing that if you could do differently, what is it that you would do? And they always tend to kind of lean toward those three little words: work life balance. Work life balance. Work life balance. And then I would always follow up with, well, what do you do to try to create that balance? What is it that you do? And so, based off of that, I was able to take the answers that I had collected over time, and then coupled with my own experiences and those of others. And so, I want to share with some of those things with you, so that hopefully you can create that balance in your own life. Okay, is that fair enough? So let's get started. So you see, when it comes down to work-life balance, there are 10 strategies that I think can help you in that area. So let's look at number one. I often tell people, you got to give yourself permission to say no. And you may say, Dr. Gillam, what do you mean? Well, you know, if you don't give yourself permission to do something, you'll find yourself not doing it for whatever reason. But you have to be intentional with what you decide to do. So give yourself permission to say no to some things that you don't need to say yes to. Because if you try to create that work-life balance and trying to reduce maybe some things that can cause you to be out of balance, there may be some opportunities for you to say no to some things. Two letters, no. And you can say it as nice or as gentle as you want, but learn how to say no. So that's strategy number one. Learn how to say no. So let's look at a second strategy that I believe can help you when it comes down to creating that work-life balance in your life. Okay, number two, exercise good time management. Exercise good time management. We've heard that all of our lives, but do we do it? Do we do it? There's only 24 hours in a day. There's only 24 hours in a day. So if you are trying to create that work-life balance, then you have to learn how to balance what it is that you're doing so that you don't spend all of the time that you are awake at work. And so when you come home, you have nothing to give because you're all burned out. You're all burned out. You're all burned out. So that time management factor is very important for anyone who's trying to create that work-life balance. So let's look at number three rather. And I call this practicing the art of delegation. Learn how to delegate those things that can be delegated in your organization, your business, whatever it is. Learn the art of delegation. We still live in a time in which there are managers who still want to macro manage. Macro manage. Can you believe that? In this day and age, you still have people who engage in macro management. But learn how to delegate. Learn how to delegate. And you know something else? Good leaders, they build their teams through the trust and delegation. Good leaders, not poor leaders, but good leaders. They build their teams through trust and delegation, not alienation, but delegation. I know several years ago I wrote this book, How to Lead Without Alienating, Bullying, or Destroying Your Team. And it was in that book that, I began to discover through interviews and surveys and things like that, that there are still people out there engaging in micromanagement. And it makes it difficult for the team. And it also creates all kinds of stress on the person who's trying to live a stress-free life. And that's a part of work-life balance. You want to reduce the amount of stress that you are experiencing. So learn the art of delegation. Learn the art of delegation. So let's take a look at strategy number 4. And you know what? It's make your health a priority. If you don't prioritize your health, because you see, health is wealth. Health is wealth. Your health. Because if you have all the money in the world and your health is not right, so make your health a priority. Make your health a priority. That is very important. So let's look at strategy number 5. And that is what I call engage in groupthink kind of activities that can help you to shift your mindset from work to maybe having some fun. Positive fun at that. Positive fun. But, doing something besides just thinking about work so that you can relax your brain and you can cause yourself to, okay, let's take a step back here. Let's take a step back here because you want to create that work-life balance. So you have to learn how to be able to walk away from the work so that you're not always just thinking about the work, but learning how to have some fun. And sometimes you may need to have an accountability partner. Sometimes you may have to have some coaching, or sometimes you may even have to get some professional counseling. But if you're the kind of person that you have a difficult time with your work-life balance, then there's some things that you may need to check out that will help you to get back in balance. Okay? And so let's go on. We're going to look at strategy number 6, and that is you need to set some boundaries. Are you good at that? I asked the team, I said, why is it important that you set boundaries? Because if you don't set boundaries, people will not respect your boundaries because you have none. You have none. And people will call you at all times of the night. They will do all kinds of things because they figure, well, with technology, therefore you are a 24/7 office because you have no boundaries. So if you're trying to create a better work-life balance for you and your family, then there's some things that need to be unplugged when you go home. So many times you will see people at the dinner table, they're on their iPad, their iPhone, or whatever kind of phone that they have, or they're on their computer. And it's like, okay, you left the office if you have to return, but a lot of people have returned back to working in the office now. But if you left the office physically, but you did not really leave it mentally, and you're bringing all of that home with you. So how can you really create a work-life balance when all of that is now moved into your home? Something to think about. What Arsenio Hall used to say, things that make you go, You got to think about that. You got to think about it. What are your boundaries? What are your boundaries? This is off limits. This is off limits. I'm home spending time with my family. And you have to look at it like that. Because what will happen is that as a parent, your kids will grow up, and then you will wonder why sometimes they may not want to spend as much time with you, because there have been times when people have said, well, when I was there, you didn't have a lot of time for me. And so now that I'm grown off doing my own thing, and that's why I think it's important that you establish boundaries. Boundaries. Where at dinner time, we're going to do this. Especially if you're trying to really maintain that good family dynamic. So don't forget to establish boundaries for you and your family. Boundaries. Boundaries at work. Boundaries are important. Boundaries. Okay, so let's take a look at the next strategy, if you will. And we're just cooking with gas here. We're just cooking with gas. And I'm just sharing these with you because I think that it's very important that we continue to talk about this topic that has created so much havoc in a lot of people's lives. And I can tell you that. But strategy number 7, know what your stressors are. Do you know what your stressors are? Do you know those things that just make you go, ugh, ooh, you just want to throw your hands up in the air like you really do care, But you want to know what your stressors are. Find out what your stressors are. Because if you're trying to maintain work-life balance, then the thing that you really want to do is reduce your stress level. You want to reduce your stress level. And so if you have a problem with deadlines, figure out what you can do to meet those deadlines on time, even beforehand. If you got a problem with getting to work on time, change that. If you got, whatever the problem might be that's causing you to have stress, especially when it comes down to work-life balance, try to reduce that stress by identifying what the stress is and then doing something about it. Know what your stresses are. All right, all right. And so now we're going to look at strategy number 8, and that is maintain your value system and your spiritual balance. That's very important because the decisions that you make, they really start here. What's here? What's in your heart? What's in your heart? And I often tell people, I had on my a guy on my show one time. He was actually a lawyer. They talk about integrity. That's on my local television show that I host. And and he talked about integrity. He talked about ethics, all of those kinds of things that, as business owners or whatever the capacity that you might be in, it's maintaining that balance, maintaining your value system and your spiritual balance. Because especially if you're in business and you're partnering with people and you guys you're not in sync, because maybe this person, they're okay with doing things this way and that doesn't align with who you are as a person, then you need to know that. What are you willing to accept and what are you not willing to accept or put up with? And so you need to know that, because in the end, you want to be comfortable with who you are. And that starts here, in the heart, in the heart. Okay, so let's take a look at strategy number 9. And that is, I often tell people you need to do this. Where you can, you need to take time off. if you find yourself just stressing out and you just having that difficult time, trying to, okay, I've got obligations over here at work, I've got obligations with the family, and I can't seem to, you might need to take some time off. Take some time off. And if you can't do a vacation, then maybe you need to plan a staycation. But even with the staycation, you need to unplug where you can. You need to unplug because it's all about maintaining your mental capacity. You want to maintain this. I said, no, I'm not a doctor, but I have had a lot of leadership positions. I have worked for a lot of people, and I'm old enough to know that if you don't maintain this, it's going to be difficult here. It's hard to have any kind of work-life balance when you're so stressed out. So you got to take care of you. You got to take care of you with either a vacation or a staycation. You just need to take some time off. And so that gets me to the last strategy that I would like to share with you, and that is don't lose sight of number one, you, number two, your friends and your family, and then number three, your friends. Because, and I was talking specifically to business owners, and what will happen is that while you are building your business, you could end up losing sight of who you are as a person. If you don't take care of you, you can become so stressed out that there's nothing left of you to enjoy the thing that you've been working so hard to build. And so you've now lost sight of you, lost sight of your family, and then lost sight of your friends because they may continue now going in a totally different path than you. I've worked for a lot of people who wondered why, things just fell apart because they were so busy working. They had no time for their family. And the next thing you know, their family was gone. And it was very sad. And it's like, but I thought I was doing the right thing and just working. And then there are times when you work so hard and so long that your whole life is consumed. And then you wake up one day and then so many things have passed you by. And you look back and you say, oh, if I just had yesterday to do X, Y, Z. But you can't turn back the clock. You can't turn back the clock. And then I often tell people, because I do a lot of work in the area of leadership development, organization development, and those kind of things. And my background is actually in IT. I spent over 30 plus years in telecommunications and IT. But I led a lot of organizations, and so I understand the importance of leadership, developing organizations, management, team building, all of those things. And I say that because when it comes down to leadership, whether you're leading in business or you're leading in your home. I love what John Wooden once said, and he says, the most powerful leadership tool you can ever have, and that is your own personal example. So are you the kind of leader that values work-life balance? Because if you do, then your team would recognize that, and they will say he or she is really a people-oriented leader. It's not just about the bottom line, but he or she is a people-oriented leader. And then within your family, oh my goodness, if you value your family, then you will want to exercise good work-life balance, good work-life balance. You got to do it, and it may take time working it out so that you can get it done. But it's something that I believe all of us need to take a good hard look at. And I thought that 2020 would have taught us a lot of things about what's really important, because you will prioritize what's important in your life. You prioritize. You make, if your family is important, you prioritize that. You want to spend time with your family. You want to do that. And so I encourage you to take these 10 simple strategies to heart. And if you're having problems with your work-life balance, take time to reassess, reframe what it is that is important in your life. This is Dr. Mary Gillam from Premier Strategic Solutions. I thank you for watching my YouTube channel, and so you have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.